I'm the Oman community Shaliach. I came from Israel a year ago. I'm going to stay for another year here in Omaha. Who knows? No, more for another year. You know, people say a good Shaliach is a Shaliach who wants to return back to Israel. So I love Israel. So today we have a special eye on Israel because all the things that happens now in Israel. And I think that the fact that all of us are today gathered here in the library to learn, discuss, to show, and raise many questions, doubts, ideas about the things that happened in Israel is very, very important. This is one of the ways to show our support to Israel. So today we're going to talk about a few issues. We're talking about the operation, the protective edge, and we're talking about other ways to see and to look on this war. We're going to see about social media, about the Facebook, how the war is there on the Facebook. We're going to see how people in Israel feel. We're going to see how all the things started at the beginning by the kidnapping of the three boys. And I want to start, as I start all the things that I'm doing in the last 2 weeks, with to give you the taste of the life in Israel now, about things that you can do in 15 seconds. And 15 seconds is the time that you need to be in a shelter at the moment that you hear the siren. So the unfortunate thing is that this video was made 2 years ago. It's not from this last operation. And this is something that the people from Sderot used to have. And all the things that were changed, it was like a big change for the last few weeks, was when all the bombs, all the rockets from Hamas started to be in Tel Aviv, in Jerusalem, in Zichron Yaakov, even in Haifa. So the situation, as we say, all Israel is under fire. And when we've talked about being as a citizen in Israel and being under fire is very different from being a soldier who is under fire. On last Sunday, as you all probably know, we started on Thursday the operation to enter to Gaza, with all our soldiers enter to Gaza, and between Saturday to Sunday, Israeli time, 13 soldiers were killed. So when we hear this kind of announcement at the beginning, it was a rumor on the Facebook that 13 soldiers were killed. It's very difficult, and it was very, very difficult, especially to me when I knew one of the soldiers, and I decided to start by showing the pictures of Tzafrir. Tzafrir is from Akko, he's from our partnership region. Me and him, when we were together in the same school, we're the same age, we knew each other. And he was 32, he got married 2 years ago, he has one son, and his wife is pregnant in the 6th month. And I think this is one of the stories that for every Israeli, all the operation is something very, very difficult. All the time that you have rockets in Israel is very difficult, but when you know someone personally, this is something that touches you more, and just pray for the peace to come as soon as possible. with all the difficulties of this. So this is the smile, the light from Tzafriya. As I said, from our partnership region, and I think that we need to memorize those kind of issues, that life of people who just decided to go to the army and defend on Israel. So when we want to start and learn about this operation, we need to start with the beginning. Although there's no beginning to those kind of things, because we're in a constant conflict. So on June 16th, 3 boys, Eyal Eliad Eliyahu and Naftali Frankel, were kidnapped by 2 Hamas terrorists, and it took time until we knew where they were. Like only on June 30, we understand that they were killed and they were buried in Khalkhul. So the 2 terrorists took them on their car. I'm sure you all heard the story about it. One of the boys called the police and say, I was kidnapped, and then you can hear that there were shots and they were shooting him. What people think now is that because they knew that he called the police, so they didn't want to kidnap them and negotiate with Israel, because they knew that the police can come after them and catch them. So they decided just to kill the 3 of them. And for 18 days, we didn't know what happened with them. So, as I wrote in the article in the Jewish press, unfortunately in Israel, when things like this happen, we have our routine. We know how to start and what we're going to do, and we all know what the Facebook page is going to be. And many things started to be on these days in Israel and all around the world. And this is a picture. Do you know who is it? The pop star Matisiyahu. And I gave him just as an example, as many people who changed their Facebook page profile with the page "Bring Back Our Boys." And these are the 3 mothers of the boys. And when we're talking about the 3 mothers, and I intentionally put the big picture, because I think that the fight was of the mothers. The mothers, with all the difficulties, with not knowing what happens to their kid, they were all the time in the media. They encouraged all the Israelis, all the Jews all around the world, pray for our boys. And it was something very even traumatic to many people when they remember last time when Gilad Shalit was kidnapped, how all Israel was together and was united in order to bring him back. When we're talking about this issue, and the things that we do usually on Israel is to compare between a few media resources, between even the CNN, BBC, in Israel, the Haaretz, Yediot Acharonot, different resources to understand what is the story all about. So, because I think unfortunately, from one war to another, the social media plays a big part in those kind of operations and war, and when we have those kind of unfortunate events. So I decided to bring 2 resources, actually 3. This page is what the American people saw, and I'm sure that all of you heard this story, but I'll put just for us to understand and to learn this program, this issue again, I'll put 2 things.
About 80 Palestinians at this point after 3 Israeli teams disappeared from the West Bank.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says they have been abducted, quote, by a terrorist organization. Senior international correspondent Ben Wiedemann is live from Jerusalem. Okay, so after that assertion by the Prime Minister, has any group claimed responsibility?
Well, just to update you, Victor, this morning the Prime Minister Netanyahu, after a cabinet meeting, came out and said, he was much more specific. He said it is Hamas that is behind the kidnappings. Now, this would indicate that perhaps they've managed to extract more intelligence, more information from the approximately 80 people that they detained overnight, among whom are some fairly senior officials in Hamas, which of course operates underground in the West Bank. One additional bit of information, I just got off the phone with the spokesman for the Israeli army. They say they've called up a very limited number of relevant reservists as a reaction to these kidnappings, these alleged kidnappings. Now, regarding claims of responsibility, there have been several, notably not from Hamas, which called the Prime Minister's assertions stupid. But we have received several claims of responsibility. Most disturbingly is this one, of course, which is from the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, the Palestine branch. Now, this is the first time they've ever put out such a statement, and there are indications this may not be an altogether legitimate claim, but it does indicate that people here, extremists here, are watching events in Iraq as well.
My goodness. Okay, so what do you make of that?
We'll stop here. And see, another thing is, as we say, the mothers played a big part from this conflict to bring back the boys, and all the Israelis all the time say how strong they are, and how belief they have, and how power they have to stand, to go to the UN, to go to many places in Israel, to gather many people, to hold hands and pray for their boys to come back to Israel.
Armed forces have
Thank you for this opportunity. It's been 8 days since the boys in Naphtali were kidnapped. Have the authorities given you any indication how they are, where they are they still alive?
I know everybody's working under the assumption that they're alive and that they have reason to believe that they are alive, and beyond that we don't know much.
We understand that you heard a phone call that was made at 10:22 p.m. the day of the kidnapping, in which somebody said, "We've been kidnapped." Was that Naphtali, and what was your reaction when you heard it?
Well, we do know there was a call made from the car during the kidnapping, and it's actually a very courageous act, so we're very proud of the boys. Beyond that, there's a gag order over anything that has to do with the tape, and I can't talk about it any further.
Now that call was made at 10:22 p.m., but we understand that the Army wasn't informed until 5 a.m. the following morning. Has anybody explained to you the reason for that delay?
At this point, we're all geared towards finding the boys. The professionals are doing everything they can, and as far as my energy, and I haven't been sleeping much or eating much, I can't deal with that. I just want to find the boys.
It's been 8 days now since they went missing. How are you coping?
Well, it is surreal to me. We didn't choose this situation. It's very difficult. We don't sleep much, we don't eat much, but we're concentrating on keeping our family together. We have other children to take care of, and they keep us sane. And we're trying to get our word out there, to get our story out to the world, to get our children back.
So tell us, what kind of a boy is Naphtali?
Naphtali was on his way back from high school. He had just texted us at 9:30 that he's on his way home. And he's in high school. He's a fun kid. He has a very cynical sense of humor. He loves basketball. He loves to play the guitar. He's a good student. A combination of serious and fun. He's my boy.
Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas was in Saudi Arabia Wednesday at a meeting of the Organization of the Islamic Conference, in which he made an appeal for the release of the boys. What's your reaction to that statement?
I fully agree. They're boys. They should be brought back to their families. We're distraught with worry and we're sleepless. We want our boys back. I agree to every word.
Do you have a message for those who are holding the boys?
I have a message to anybody in the world that's listening. They should do anything they can to get our children back home. We just want them back in our homes, in our beds. We want to hug them. Any decent person would do anything they can to get them back.
So this link actually was published in all the Facebook in Israel. My friends in the States, you can see this one. The mother talks about it's not a conflict between Arabs, Jews, terrorist organization. It's her son. So this was the way for her to get all the support that she needed then until the unfortunate event. In Al Jazeera is of all the Arabic, of all the Palestinian groups. And this is Al Jazeera America. And here it's written, Israel blames Hamas for kidnapping 3 Israeli teens. And when they say blame, they say they had many other ways to understand it, to explain the thing that happened. Part of them say, we're not connected to those people who kidnapped the boys. It's not from the Hamas. Other people even say it's just a rumor, and no 3 kids were kidnapped. the Israel government just want to bring back people that were released after Gilad Shalit came back to Israel. So there are many rumors that time it was. And of course, everything was blown like a balloon after they found them buried near to Khalkhul, near to Hebron. Other things from Al Jazeera, Israel's search for settlers led to collective punishment. As you heard from the CNN, the lady that talked there said, because of the 3 boys that were kidnapped, Israel arrested 80 terrorists from Hebron in order to find the boys. So this is part of the things that when you're checking in other places, I all the time say, if you want to really know what happened in the news, check in different places. So you can read in the CNN, Sky News, BBC, whatever you read, open in Al Jazeera also and see how it opened, what things happened there. I've also opened the Hamas or Izzadin al-Qassam Facebook homepage, and there are different places, different information. What I recommend you all to do, and if you can write it or to remember, Google Hamas propaganda. And then you can read and see all the pictures and all the things that they put on the Facebook or they share with all the world, or they put on the Facebook in order to frighten the Israeli soldiers and the Israeli citizens in order to make sure that they are like superior in this battle. Other thing that happened in the Palestinian side, something very sad. It was the new salute of holding 3 fingers in order to say we have 3 Gilad Shalit. And this is something that touched all the people in Israel, and it was very offensive when other people, not only from the Palestinian or terrorists or other organization in the world did it, but also Israeli Arabs that did it. It was very difficult to see. And as I all the time say, the war are also on the talkbacks, like under the article, and then you can read the emotions that were for this kind of program or this kind of 3-finger salute, and you can see the amount of kids, and actually you can see how they use the kids. And this is only the start when we're going to continue learning about our operation, how to use the kids and how to use the innocent citizens in Gaza as their protection. Different voices from Israeli Arabs. This boy look familiar to you? So he's a star in all the Facebook of my friends, and he's an Israeli Arab, and he's very famous, not only because he's like, I think he's very charismatic and he knows Arabic, English and Hebrew like his mother tongue. So I'm going to show something that was shared a lot of times on Facebook, and this is part of the war that Israeli Arabs, part of them, do in Israel.
Those terrorists who have kidnapped our kids, לאלו הטרוריסטים שחטפו את הילדים שלנו, ללהבים اللي חטפו أولادنا, bring them back. And you better bring them back now. תחזירו אותם, ועדיף לכם להחזיר אותם עכשיו. רجعوهم وأحسن إنكم ترجعوهم هسه. To Bibi, our Prime Minister, and his government, לביבי, ראש הממשלה שלנו, לכל הממשלה שלו, לביבי, רئיס וזראנו, חוקומתו, וכך, תתעוררו, اصحى, and stop cooperating with terrorists, ותפסיק לשתף פעולה עם מחבלים וטרוריסטים. وبطل انك تتعاون مع ارهابيين ومخربين. The Palestinian Authority is the biggest terrorist. السلطة الفلسطينية هي أكبر إرهابية. الشرطة الفلسطينية هم التيرورستين הכי גדולים. שלשום הנערים האלו נחטפו. Yesterday or 2 days ago, these Israeli kids were kidnapped. أول امبارح هدول الشباب انخطفوا. Tomorrow it could be me, you, or any others Israeli. מחר זה יכול להיות אני, אתה, או כל ישראלי אחר. בוקרה ممكن يكون هذا أنا اللي راح أنخطف أو أنتي أو أي إسرائيلي تاني عربي ولا يهودي. Our enemies don't separate between Arabs and Jews living in Israel. האויבים שלנו לא מפרידים בין ערבים ויהודים שחיים בישראל. أعدائنا ما بيميزوش بين عربي ويهودي عايشين في إسرائيل. For them we are all one. For them we are all Israelis. בשבילם אנחנו כולנו אחד. אנחנו כולנו ישראלים. بالنسبة لإلهن إحنا كلنا واحد. إحنا كلنا إسرائيليين. And you know what? I am proud about that. I'm an Israeli and I will remain an Israeli. אתם יודעים מה? אני גאה בזה. אני ישראלי ואני אשאר ישראלי. وأنا فخور بهذا الشيء إنه بيعتبروني نحن إسرائيليين لأنه أنا إسرائيلي وأنا رح أضل إسرائيلي. And again, you better bring them back. عديد لكم להחזיר אותם. أحسن لكم إنه ترجعون. Israel is here to exist as a Jewish and as a democratic country. ישראל פה יישאר כמדינה יהודית דמוקרטית. ישראל انوجدت عشان تضل كدولة يهودية ديمقراطية. عم إسرائيل خايف. يحيى شعب إسرائيل.
So, an Israeli Arab. And the surprise here is that he put a lot of short clips, 3 minutes, share his goals, his ideas, his beliefs, and he was threatened. People wanted to kill him. So 3 weeks ago, he shared another video that he said with the flag, "I'm alive. I know that you are all worried about me." So we can just think he's a teenager. Other videos he put is like singing with his friends on the class. He's doing many things that I think a teenager does. But here, this person, as an Israeli Arab, talks a lot in order to share with all the world. Not all the Arabs are the same. There are the Israeli Arabs who are against those kind of terrorists because they really understand about the benefit of living as a minority in Israel. So we've talked about the two places. From the state side in the United States, how people read and knew all those kind of things that happened in the Arab world. And now, this is what happened in Israel. As I said, it took very, very short time when all the Israelis gathered together with praise, going to all the squares in Israel. This picture, you can see it's in the Kotel in June 15th, 3 days after they were kidnapped, and all the Israelis prayed together. The buses were very, very fast with the new slogan, "Bring back our boys," as was in all the world, with all the Jewish communities all around the world, hold the signs, bring our boys. June 29th, the family, the parents of the 3 boys, the first time went to the place that the kidnap happened. And they went and drove and saw exactly the last drive of their sons. And it was very, very touching to hear again the mother after 17 days that you did not hear anything about your son standing and talking. The mother of Naftali is an American, as you saw when she was talking. He had an American citizenship, so she was the person who was talking to all the other reports from all the world. The 2 other mothers spoke in Hebrew. It was you can see how each one of them were very strong but handled it differently. This is from Rabin Square, again the same day, at night, where all the Israelis come, all the celebs came together and sang together and prayed together for the 3 boys. Finally, unfortunately, on Monday evening, we all heard the news that they were discovered in Khalkhul, buried in a very, very unrespected way, and they were found after those 18 days. The funeral was tens of thousands of people that came in order to show their respect and show their support, and all the time, in all the places that this announcement was shown, they talked about the unity of Israel, how the togetherness of all Israelis that came together, sat together, show their bad feelings about the things that happened. And you can see here from Haaretz that, as we learned like in the beginning of the Israel program, that it's like used to say that it's like the left wing of the Israel society. So they've talked again about the togetherness, about הדבר הבולט ביותר בטקס היה כניעה לסולידריות. The most important thing and that we all saw on these days is the togetherness of all the people in Israel that showed their warm will that the boys will return, and unfortunately with a sad end. A day after it, Muhammad Abu Khdir was kidnapped, a teenager, 16, from a settlement, Shuafat, in the east of Jerusalem. He was kidnapped. Only yesterday, Israel has discovered that it was 3 people. One of them was 29. They said that he has like a mental illness, but with 2 other young kids in the age of 16 who kidnapped him. And it was very brutal what they did for him. They like hit him, and then they put fire, lit him, and that's the way that he ended his life. And I think it was something very disgusting for that all the people in Israel showed how we didn't need it now. Although, if we like stick to the Facebook page, many people wanted revenge after the 3 boys were kidnapped and after the 3 boys discovered as dead. But this thing was something very, very bad, and even many rabbis told that they need to give a death punishment to those people who killed this boy. And this is very, very sad. The funeral that was there, a few days after it, in all the places, in all the cities that have like mixed population, like Akko, and I was there in Akko in the days that it happened, all the situation was changed very, very quick. It started to be demonstration in all the streets in many, many cities, in Natzrat, between Somech Square, and especially in Akko. And in Akko is something very unique what happened there. As you can see, there is a demonstration, and I remember that my father went to the bank and he told me there's going to be a demonstration in the streets of Akko. I told him, how do you know? Well, he heard people talking. So it was like from one mouth to another, started to gather, to make a demonstration and show how they not agree, of course, with all the things that happened to Muhammad Abu Khdir, that he was murdered only because he was an Arab. And in other places, I remember that we drove from Yesod HaMa'ala to Akko, and where there are many Arabic villages, people told us, be careful, because the day before they were standing near to the road, and when there was like a green light, they started like to jump on the cars. So it was something very, very frightening, and all the time I feel safe in my home, in my land. But this time it was very, very tense time. So in Akko, there was a demonstration, but it was only with 300 Arabs. And this is something very insane. It was only with 300 Arabs, because there are like around 20,000 Arabs in Akko. The idea was that the mayor decided to call to all the leaders of the Arabs in Akko and told them, okay, be patient. Don't do anything that you think can even damage you. Because we all remember, all the people from Akko remember on 2008 what happened in Yom Kippur, when the Arab, someone entered to the city, the Jewish part in Akko, and so I'll just make a long story short. Finally, there was like riots in Akko, and all the economic of the Arabs were suffered for a year after it, because they canceled the big event of the Festival Akko that happened in Akko. So it was only 300 Jews, Arabs, but still, the things that they were told there, it was kidnap more and more soldiers. And this was very offensive for us, as someone who lives in my building with 8 families, 4 of them are Arabs, 4 of them are Jews, to say, kidnapped Israeli soldiers. in order to negotiate. So it was something that happened that day. Another thing, they throw stones on the Israeli police in that day. And this is a very, very interesting article that is talking about that the other Arabs in Israel decided to boycott the Arabs from Akko because they didn't went all of them together to the streets and demonstrate. So the Arabs from Akko, from my city, that you can see them every day, part of them are threatened to be boycotted by the Israelis, by the Jews in Akko, and now all the Arabs in all Israel want to boycott them because they didn't demonstrate a lot and show how they are against all the things that happened there in that day. So now, we're continuing with the time, and today we're in the 15th day of the Operation Protective Edge, and it all started after all the riots that were in all the big cities in Israel, and the Hamas started to send rockets not only to Tel Aviv, not only to Gaza, but also to Tel Aviv, Jerusalem. And you can see here in the red, all the places that are under threat, under fire in Israel. And a unique other weapon that they use, that all the time the question was that since the disengagement in 2005, how many weapons they achieved and how now they can reach many other places, even the north part. When I heard there was a siren in Haifa, in my cell phone I have the red code, and I saw it was in Haifa, I thought, the Hezbollah now started from Lebanon. No, it was from Gaza. So it was something surprising for all of us. And then they decided to start the Operation Protective Edge. They started only with the Air Force, and they started to bring back many people who were released after the Gilad Shalit negotiation to bring back many of the terrorists that were in Israel. So they brought them, a lot of them, back to Israel. At the point, last Thursday, they decided to enter with the IDF in order to make sure that we are safe from two things. One, of course, of the rocket, that we have the Iron Dome, and I think we can do an analysis about the Iron Dome and the things that, how it was invented and the respect that all the world have to it. But the other things in the underground tunnels that we're going to learn in the next slide. But first, just to have an update from 2 days ago, from Bibi Netanyahu, from the CNN, about the goal of the operation.
Your exit strategy from Gaza, what is it?
Sustainable quiet. I mean, we didn't seek this escalation. Hamas forced it on us. They started rocketing our cities, steadily increasing the fire. I called for de-escalation. They refused. I accepted an Egyptian ceasefire proposal backed up by the Arab League and the UN. They refused. I accepted a humanitarian law proposed by the United Nations. They refused. We'll stop our operations when we can bring back quiet to our people.
Some of your cabinet ministers think the only way to do that is to reoccupy Gaza, which you evacuated from and gave it up back in 2005. Do you support reoccupying Gaza?
Well, I support taking whatever action is necessary to stop this insane situation. Just imagine. I mean, imagine what Israel is going through. Imagine that 75% of the U.S. population is under rocket fire, and they have to be in bomb shelters within 60 to 90 seconds. So I'm not just talking about New York, Washington, Chicago, Detroit, San Francisco, Miami, you name it. That's impossible. You can't live like that. So I think we have to restore back reasonable, sustained quiet and security, and we'll take whatever action is necessary to achieve that.
But that includes possibly reoccupying Gaza, because a lot of your military planners are afraid of what they would call a quagmire, a dangerous quagmire.
Nobody wants to go to excessive military lengths, but what is happening here is excessive. They're not only targeting our cities, they're deliberately firing thousands of rockets. They've already fired 2,000 rockets in the last few days on our cities. You can imagine this. It's not only that, and they wanted to kill as many of our 6 million Israelis who are targeted as they could. They haven't succeeded now for lack of targets, because we've developed, with American help, and I appreciate the help that President Obama and the U.S. Congress have given us, to develop these Iron Dome fantastic systems. But some of the missiles perforate and they hit our schools. So we have to stop that. But in addition to the rockets, they've got now terror tunnels that they build in Palestinian homes in Gaza. They penetrate underground into Israeli territory. Terrorists pop up there, try to murder civilians, kidnap Israelis, as they did with Gilad Shalit. So we're taking action right now to neutralize those tunnels, and we'll continue the action as long as it's necessary.
You see these painful pictures, though, these Palestinian children and these refugees, thousands of them fleeing their homes. It's a horrendous sight what's going on right now. If you look at the images, heart-wrenching. What goes through your mind when you see that?
I'm very sad. When I see that, I'm very sad. We're sad for every civilian casualty. They're not intended. This is the difference between us. The Hamas deliberately targets civilians and deliberately hides behind civilians. They embed their rocketeers, their rocket caches, their other weaponry from which they fire, which they use to fire on us in civilian areas. What choice do we have? We have to protect ourselves. So we try to target the rocketeers. We did. And all civilian casualties are unintended by us, but actually intended by Hamas. They want to pile up as many civilian dead as they can because somebody said they use, and it's gruesome, they use telegenically dead Palestinians for their cause. They want the more dead, the better.
Yeah, so this short video now is like advertised a lot in all the Facebooks, and this get a lot of shares just from the Israeli side. And as I said, the war is also on the Facebook. Like the Hamas has his way to make sure that us, the Israelis, will be threatened. Something that I will share, something funny, because it's like too difficult to sit and talk a lot about it. So, there is Adin Al-Qassam as a Twitter and as a Facebook account, and they wrote there something in Hebrew. Be careful, we are sending people from us that will be in there in your shelters, and you may be sure that you're going to be threatened all of your life. So it was written in Hebrew, and one lady that I don't know how she had the courage, she wrote back, "Excuse me, as a Adin Al-Qassam, but you have a grammar mistake in Hebrew." And so we wrote her, "What is the mistake?" So they started between female and male, and then they thanked her, and then she wrote them, "But make sure that if you have those kind of mistakes, we're not afraid from it, because it's just funny." So it was something that happens all the time now in the Twitter and in Facebook, like even conversation with our enemies. And this is like the platform that all of us can be there together. So now, the thing that I love to do is to compare what all the people in all the world, because in Israel we have many groups, like to take the thing that what is written in Yediot Ahronot can be so different than what is written on Besheva or Haaretz, like right wing, left wing, and the center. So, I'm going to show a few articles that were on the same day. And this is very important because if you want to compare, you have to pick the same day, the same time. So it was from Sunday, Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning. And the New York Times shared what happened. So if we're talking about climax of this operation on Sunday, between Saturday to Sunday, it was a very difficult time in Gaza. And then you can see at least 87 Palestinian and 13 Israeli soldiers were killed. And both sides report deadliest day in Gaza. And this is a thing that you can see. If you want to do researchers like in the academic world, so just to start to compare which number they put first, which picture they put, but I think that because we don't have a lot of time and we're not researchers, this is like the energy that we got from the New York Times. From the BBC News, just guess before we were talking, but again, Gaza suffers from deadliest single day, and all the pictures are taken from the destructions of the homes that day, that morning that you can see. And Hamas sent a picture, Gaza Conflict Hospital on Kofi's front line. Again, if you want about the Hamas propaganda and the Google that you can see how we need to fight with those kinds of things when they share pictures of hospitals that were like damaged by the rockets. What we show in Israel is what is hidden hidden inside of these hospitals, rockets. So this is the idea how they, again, as Bibi Netanyahu said, it became like the war that he used to say a lot, human shields. So this is the thing that we discover in those hospitals. So this is from the BBC News. Both of them, again, here, Sky News, share only the number of the Israelis. 13 Israeli troops killed as the airstrikes go on. So this is something that they decided to share about the Israeli soldiers that were killed. Safrir, that I showed in the beginning, was one of them. And this is something that we can see what you decide to emphasize when you write an article. They said, like when you click and read other information, they said that when something happens like this in Israel, it shakes the Israeli society when Israeli soldiers are being killed. Here in the Al Jazeera, it's not that I know Arabic, but Melissa helps me with my accent. Not to say Arabic. With the I don't know what to read Arabic, but here you can see the number that is 100, and then you can see that it was the most, with a lot of people that were injured since 2005, in 2008, in one day. So for them to see all the damage that they had in that night. The Fox News, that is supportive of Israel, right? Like, support there, but we are not in the big title. They're talking about the Malaysian airplane that was fallen, and only here you can read about what happened in Israel. Again, they emphasize that 13 Israeli soldiers that were killed, and this is like what I got from the Fox News. Other places in the world. So, as you know, many places in the world suffer because of what happened in Israel. As a Shaliach, every day someone from the security in New York call me and say what are the threats. And if like my region is in the threat of Muslims that want to do and suffer Jews. And so in Europe, they suffer more from anti-Semitism, and we're going to see what happened. But in one sentence, what happened in Paris when people were in the synagogue and like 3,000 Muslims came and gathered together and like didn't give the opportunity for the people in the synagogue to go out. We have a shlicha in Paris, and I've talked with her, I like emailed her, and I understood how difficult the time there in Paris. But 400 Jews did Aliyah, 400 Jews did Aliyah from Paris last week to Israel. Here, this is from Spain, and you can see the picture of the people that are started to escape from the place in Gaza, go to the south part of the Gaza Strip in order to escape from the rockets. And they also emphasize the number of the 3 soldiers, but they also emphasize the 430 people, citizens, the people that were killed, that 90 of them that night are women and kids. So they still want to share all the information. In England, again, it was not like in the main part of the homepage, but here, death and horror in Gaza. They emphasize the numbers of the Israeli soldiers. They share all the things, but they put other things that with offensive face of Israelis. That it's written here: Israelis gather to watch and cheer as bombs fall. Like I said, that all the people that are in Gaza Strip in the border, they can see what the Israelis, the soldiers do in Gaza. So this is like to the bad face. And I tried to find, I saw yesterday on Facebook how it's not really what happened there, and all the people that were watching are only people, reports from many other places in the world, but still, it's something that was advertised in England. In Paris, where is this picture taken from? What do you think? Syria? It's correct because they used to duplicate pictures, but where is it looked from? It looks like Gaza, but it was in Paris. part of the demonstration there, and like the president there needed to say to other people that they need to calm down and not to have or pro-Israeli rallies or anti-Israel, pro-Palestine gatherings because of the things that happened there, and this is something that people are suffered also also there. A few things before we give time to questions. Things that happened on Facebook. The main fear now, they said that the Iron Dome can protect from the rockets that come from Gaza or come from many other places, can be even from Lebanon. But now the tunnels is another thing. Last night, the Minister of Economic of Israel was talking in front of the camera in Israel to other people and say, this is horrible that the family shares with him a story, that they are thinking that they hear something underground. Kids are afraid to go to sleep because they hear something, that someone is digging under them. And this is a picture that now is shared on Facebook, that you don't know what happens to you underground, and this is like the underground terror. And this is the thing that they are now fighting. Like, as the BBC said, we can handle with the rocket, we can handle with a lot of praise, because it's like a miracle when we don't have those kind of many rockets, and only that for his family is like the bad thing, but only one person, one citizen was killed from the rockets. I'll show you a short clip that is now running in the Facebook. This is like the war now. When we talked about what happens now in Gaza, so the Israeli soldiers discover with the intelligence force where there are those tunnels, and when we hear the unfortunate news of soldiers that were killed, is near to places there are the entrance of the tunnels when they want to like damage them. But something optimistic. We have the support from many places, many Jewish communities all around the world. Here's something that are like even surprising from Iran, from Turkey, from Tunisia, people with different passports that want to put their hand. I thought it's like the like button that we press there, but this is the thing that you see a lot on Facebook to show the support. Many places all around the world, in London, rallies for Israel, in Montreal, in Canada, in Australia, in Melbourne, and of course in Omaha. Yeah, it's something that we did on Wednesday. Many people of you came, so it was great to see. And when we send this, you cannot imagine how powerful and meaningful it is for the Israelis. You just upload one picture and thank you. This is something that people need to see and to understand that people are pro-Israel and support and very supportive for the things and for the suffer that Israelis are doing. Thank you. This is until here, the Iron Israel things that I have to say. Now, remarks, questions for the things that you saw here. Maybe you want to raise something. This is your time.
What is your view of the American media, just the most widely listened to stations that you've heard? And how do you respond to what you've heard?
How I respond? What is my... So I all the time say that if I show my views, my mother will be happy, because immediately I come back to Israel. Okay? But it's like, we're not allowed to share as a shlichim all the views that we see, but it's very, very great and even flattered to see all the support that we get, even from the American media, and especially if you take the Facebook as a platform and on the Twitter as a platform to see what people decide to copy paste from the CNN and to share with all the world. This is something that gives us a lot of power to understand and to cope with those kind of things. For me, it's the first time that there is an operation or there is a war in Israel and I'm not there. And I all the time think how the world thinks about us, what the people there think, and now I'm there, not from the Israeli side. It's very, very difficult, but the same, it's like, as I say, it's very, to feel the support from the people that we get here, it's like, it feels good.
You feel frustrated that you're not there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whew. I just came back, and the last day that I was there, it was the first rocket that fell into Tel Aviv. And we were in the airport, and we needed all to go to the shelter there. So I said, "Oh, it's a sign that unfortunately we're not going to be there." It's for Israelis, the togetherness in this time, you cannot replace it in any other thing. It's like all of the people are together, like, and.
Well, Secretary of State John Kerry in Cairo now, working on negotiations for ceasefire. Is there the appearance that the United States is working with the terrorist group? Is there an appearance that we are negotiating with terrorists now because he's there?
No, I think that Egypt, it's something that we want to believe that Egypt is the one to create those kind of ceasefires. We remember Egypt as people that Egypt helped to bring back Gilad Shalit. All the process was with Egypt. So we want to believe that with Egypt, finally we'll go to the ceasefire. But as Billy said, 3 times we wanted the ceasefire, even the humanitarian ceasefire for a few hours, and the Hamas stopped them. And the Hamas sent the rockets. So now, well, last night, if you heard news, Hamas agreed to the ceasefire, but Bibi, the Israel government said, no ceasefire now. They want to damage all the tunnels in order to make sure that all the people will feel safe living near to the Gaza Strip. And of course, like in the Israeli press and in the media, they say all the 27 soldiers that were killed, it won't be like in vain, like to feel that they killed and now the safe and the silent return back to those kind of, to this place near to Gaza.
Before this happened, they said that Hamas was losing support among the Gazans because they were short of money, they couldn't bring anything in. Now, what is the? I mean, has a consequence of this turned the people of Gaza back that now avid supporters of Hamas or what?
Okay, so this is again the question that you can answer in 2 ways. First of all, is about the support in all the world and the support that you can see and read all the time. The support for the Hamas is decreased. If in the past people thought the Hamas is like, all the time was expressed as a terrorist organization, but still they say, okay, they have the prime minister, they have the people that can take care and have like a calm life for all the citizens that live there. Now, even this thing, all the support for the Hamas is decreased. They see them as a terrorist, use their kids and women as a human shields. The thing that like people say all the time that there's the same amount of force against the Hamas.
Israel's goal is to rout out the rockets and the tunnels. So let's say they do that in this operation. Then it's over. What happens?
Amen.
No, amen. This is the 3rd one of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you think that what's to stop the terrorists from starting all over again at ground zero and doing this again in another 5
Okay,
years?
so on Sunday, I had here a group, 39 Forever, this is the name? 39 Forever. And we were talking about the Israel, the Arabic, and the Israeli conflict. And then there was someone from one of the biggest universities, that showed a slide and asked people what they think about it. Like, if Israel says, we want peace, what happened? And if the Hamas organization and all the other nations surround us say, we want peace, what happened? So, what? Yes. So they showed like two things that can be. That if the Hamas wants peace and all the rest wants peace, it will be peace. No one wants war. Everyone has kids, everyone has parents, everyone has grandmother, grandfathers, wants to live safe, wants to go and have fun. But if the terrorists, if Israel will decide, okay, we're not fighting anymore, so Israel will be thrown to the sea. There is a joke. If you want to be if you want to be optimistic, learn English. If you want to be pessimistic, learn Arabic. If you want to be realistic, learn how to swim. It's a bad joke. Cut here.